Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. A big week of ball. Your favorite NL Central managers fought. Trev's Twins are hot. A lot of friends of the program are playing well. We've got Hall of Fame ads. Let's just talk ball. Let's talk ball. Joey Gallo's in the news.
Oh my God. Jose Siri. Foreshadowing.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. I believe they got code Talkin10 still rolling. 10% off. I'm Jake Storielli. That is Trevor Plouffe. David Mendelson on the 1s, 2s, and 3s. Can we, congrats to Joey Gallo? That whole thing.
No one's congratulating
that
him.
whole thing took such a gnarly road. Congrats, JoJo.
How did it take that road? Did she used to date the owner of the Raiders?
I don't know. It's one of those things you don't research that because you just don't want to find it. If the internet just set up that whole thing, brutal.
Joey Gallo's one of the nicer guys you're gonna meet.
And what was the other thing you and him have in common? Fresh haircuts.
I don't just stop.
Fresh haircuts for today's episode.
Homers.
Power. Raw power. What's going on over there, T-Pain? You're looking good. You look like a ball player.
I do look good today because I got a haircut yesterday. I got black on, the chain pop. I don't really mean to have the chain pop.
Chain was pop, Trev.
I was in a real bad mood yesterday. I told you that before the show. So a couple weeks ago, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to even talk about this, but I don't care because I was just in the worst mood yesterday. I'll do this quick, people. I got served. You ever been served?
Wow.
I've been served twice. Once it was for somebody else. I'm like, hey, this isn't me.
That's kind of sick, though.
They're like, well, I'm gonna throw these away. They're like, oh, well, that's your problem. I said, no, that's your problem, dude. You served the wrong person. Bad at your job. Second time was for me. And so I spent all day yesterday digging up text messages about I don't know how else to put this, my dead friend, Tyler Skaggs.
Oh.
But that was awesome for me, reliving that over and over and over again, labeling text messages, pictures. So I was in a bad place yesterday.
Yeah.
And today, because I get to see you guys and talk a little ball, I feel better. So that's what I'm doing, Jake. I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know why I brought that up.
Yeah, we'll restart the app, I guess. No, man, that's Talking Baseball. In the first 2 minutes, we've covered from Joey Gallo having a baby. That was one of the weirdest reporting things ever because everyone thought it was Mark Davis's kid for the first 24 hours. All the way to Skaggsy, which I know how that does get you.
It got me bad because I had to search and I found our last text messages together, and we had such a fun, awesome relationship. And the last thing we talked about was going to Gilbert's, which is a Mexican restaurant in Santa Monica. We both have our pictures on the wall. We sit in Coyote Corner because Coyote Corner is VIP at this. I mean, it got me going. I was in my feelings yesterday, man. I really was.
Well, Trev, we're gonna get in our feelings a little bit, our baseball feelings. We've got some interesting topics. I mean, the Hall of Fame got involved this week because we're adding MLB Negro League stats, and that changes some of the leaderboards. Hot takes only about that. I don't think so, but we'll talk about that a little bit. The Mets got Metsy, but then it kind of wasn't. So I don't know. It was, but it wasn't as Metsy
this is very
okay.
Metsy, it is.
I was trying to get in front of it a little bit. And then, I can't believe, we've never really planned the opening couple words, but, you're Craig Counsell, Pat Murphy. We've been a manager's program, and we're going to rank the top 34 managers in baseball this episode. And it's all brought to you by the Farmer's Dogue. The Farmer's Dogue. Trev, been spending a lot of time with my guy Noodle the Doodle. He's way too big, but a big dog needs big food, and that's the Farmer's Dog. And you're saying, hey, I don't have that. massive dog that my wife lied to me about and said was going to be a medium brown dog. Instead, we got the biggest, whitest dog on the planet. Okay, enough about that. You got to take care of your pooch. And Farmer's Dog does that. They make food specifically for your dog, and the biggest thing is it's real food. It's real food, so your dog is going to like that. So whether they're young or old, big or small, take care of your pup and maybe try out the Farmer's Dog. And how about 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/talkin. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/talkin. 50% off. Click the link in the description.
I'm a dog.
You kind of are a dog. Have we quelched your kid's appetite for getting a pup? Does that come and go?
I'm sure they still want one, but it's just not in the cards right now. Would you say, like, if I say, like, I'm a dog, is that DAWG or DOGG?
Oh, see, that's kind of old school, but I love that for you.
Yeah.
Because that kind of hits your Cali roots.
Yeah, I think I got to go.
No, it came on my my timeline.
They not like us.
My timeline the other day was Snoop Dogg doing a thank you speech, and he ends it by thanking himself, and it's pretty good. It's like he's like, I want to thank me for being me, for believing in me.
I've been there.
It's like, yeah. Again, we'll talk about Jose Siri later. Trev, it's Friday.
Yes.
So obviously we have some National League, and I think the National League kind of has a little bit more of the juice this Friday. Okay. We start out in your beautiful Flushing, Queens, and unfortunately, flush noise. The Mets get swept by the Dodgers. We may not be surprised by that result. Our guy Glasnow with a good start in the first game. You know every hitter in their lineup. Maybe not Miguel Vargas, Andy Pajes, and Gavin Stone in that second game. The youth brought it to the table. The headlines from this series went to Jorge Lopez, who, again, I think the quotes got a little misinterpreted, but he's out of town. We're going to talk about that. Metsies. I'm sorry. Alonso got hit on the hand. It's not broken. We'll get into that a little bit. Some good ball played in the great state of Milwaukee, where the Brewers hold home serve. They win 3 out of 4 against the Cubbies. Bobby Gasser, hello. Him and Justin Steele go toe-to-toe in that first game. Brewers blow it open in the 7th, including a Nick Madrigal error. Haven't seen us in the same room. Willie Adames goes yard call. The game the Cubbies got, my guy Ben Brown punching tickets. And the Cubs starting pitching has dominated Milwaukee, but it hadn't led to wins. At one point, the starters had been 32.1 scoreless. But that's Freddie Peralta was doing it on the other side. How about Gary Sanchez opening up in that final game? El Gary is El Scary. Brewers get it done. Is Pat Murphy the better manager? We'll deep dive into that. Cardinals, Reds. My Reds, they're starting to figure it out. They win that first game. They're on a little streak. No, the Cardinals answer back. They win the final 2 games, which still has them kind of moving the ball the right direction. Your guy Gibby, 6 innings, 1 earned. Still just doing it, Trev, kind of at a high level. And then Andre Palante. I never know where he's at in their rotation or the pen. He's going to be in the rotation if he gives them 6 shut piece. Nolan Gorman, back-to-back games with a homer to finish out that series. The Nats want us to talk about them, Trev.
We will.
And it's because they're getting starting pitching efforts, whether it's my guy Jake Irvin, who he actually got outdueled by your guy Max Fried. Mitchell Parker, sure. Trevor Williams has been doing it all dang year, and you know I don't like to talk like that. Lane Thomas is back in mashing. Joey Meneses is blocking balls down the line. They take 3 out of 4 from the Braves. Are the Braves panicking? We won't talk about that. We won't talk about are the Phillies panicking either, even though they lost 2 out of 3 to the San Francisco Giants. The Giants continue to put together a nice little stretch. A 1-0 10-inning game. That's the only time the extra inning game kind of hurts my soul, when the only run is a sac fly ghost runner. I feel that a little bit, but I also feel like when you call up Brett Wisely and he's hitting, that can change it. Your guy Chris Sanchez shuts him down in the final game. How tall is he? We'll never truly know. Padres, they take 2 out of 3 from the Florida Fishies. Fishies had been winning some series, but the Padres have been too. Matt Waldron, the best knuckleballer ever? Saw that in a tweet this week. I don't know. No, not yet. Donovan Solano always just gives a team an effort. He's been helping the Padres figure it out. They win the first 2. Fishies, they get the last one behind Jazz and Jesus, baby. Amen. Guard Dogs, they lose 2 out of 3 to the Rock Pile. Are you kidding me? I am not. Rockies have been playing a decent brand of baseball. Ty Block with a good start. Charlie Blackmon, saw him on Standout Performers. Don't think he got the award. In that middle game, Josh Jose and Fry, your Guardians offense. That's what happened in the National League.
How tall are you, Chris Sanchez? Reveal yourself. It's not Men in Black, bro. This is the real world.
Who do you want him to stand next to? What would help you the most?
Men in Black.
Could be Men in Black.
Someone I really, really know how tall they are. Trey Turner.
Okay.
Let me see what you look at as Trey Turner. Trey Turner's like a legit, what, 6'2"? If you're shorter than Trey Turner, let me see what Trey... Beavers, check that for me. I'm 6'1", and Trey Turner...
Trey had you think?
He had me, yeah. But he had
really?
Spikes on, so maybe he's 6'1".
Listed 6'2". I think I would have said a true 6'1".
Gun to my head, I had you over him by a half inch, and then we'd have to measure your height too.
I knew you were gonna go there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little H today. Just a little H on a Friday. Summer's here.
I don't know, scrawny guys.
Ask me.
You got them standings?
Yeah. So ready for this. So ready for this. Okay. Because it's Friday, we obviously start in the National League, right?
Yes.
And because it's Friday, we always start out west.
Right.
They not like us. In the West, the Los Angeles Dodgers, 36-22. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Giants, 7-3 in those last 10 games. But if you go back a little bit further, they're doing it. They are above 500 at 29-28. Them Pods, my Pods. I am claiming the Pods. I've already said that many times on this show. Because we're just a bunch of shortstops. That's all we are. They're 30-29, so they're also above 500. And then you got the Snakes sitting at 25-31, and the Rockies at 20-35. We're seeing Casey Lynch.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for us. NL Central, those Brewers, man, there were some swingers series. The Brewers were part of one of them. They're 33-23 with a firm grasp, Jake, a firm grasp on the NL Central. The Cardinals, how about it? Second place at 27-27. Everybody else in the Central is under 500, including the Cubbies.
Wow.
28-29. The Pirates, 26-30. And the Reds. What is you doing, baby? I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I want you guys to be good. 24-32, 9 games back. My goodness. The Cubs, by the way, 2-8 in the last 10. And then in the NL East, we do them last because it's Friday.
Right.
The Philadelphia Phillies 39-18, the Atlanta Braves 31-23, the Washington Nationals 26-29, the Mets 23-33, 10 games under 500, and the Marlins 20-37. The Mets, by the way, 2-8 in their last 10. Those are the standings in the National League.
Trev, fantastic. Per usual, that was your standings report, sponsored by Trev himself. Yep. Trev, it's National League, so let's do the Mets thing first. Because in live time,
you might be about to say it, but they just sent down Christian Scott and Brett Beatty.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say that.
I wasn't gonna say that.
You said in live time, and I was like, "Oh, did you just read the pass and tweet as well?"
No. The Jorge Lopez saga, that if you're someone that lives on the internet, which a chunk of you do, Watching this in live time was pretty wild because it was like, wait, what did Jorge Lopez do? He got tossed, and then he took down the Mets organization on the way out. That's not exactly what happened, and there's some translation stuff here. And Trev, I'd love to get your perspective because I think you were at one of Teddy's games, and you sent us a text like, wait, what's going on? Because you were starting to get hit up by people. So walk us through your whole thing.
I did a lot of this on Baseball Today, so if you listen to that, you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from. Yes, I was at practice, and I was running a 3-hour youth practice. My bad, I'm giving back. Pay it forward, people. And I had a bunch of text messages and DMs from players. That's what happens when pulling back the curtain a little bit. When something kind of controversial happens, our social team puts something out. We have our channels are, they're big, so like they mean something, and guys will hit me up. Hey man, like, I think you got this wrong. I think you got this wrong. And then I have to kind of like talk to Kyle and talk to, the guys and say, what's going on here? It's kind of one of the things that I'm a liaison, if you will,
right,
for stuff like that. So I didn't really know what happened. I saw guys texting me, and then I saw the clip, and that's all the context I had. And I said that it definitely seems like he said and meant to say, I'm the worst teammate in the big leagues. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I thought he said right away. And then I got, shot back a text about, no, he actually confirmed it. Steve Gallo went back and said, hey, did you mean team or teammate? And then he said, well, both. I'm the worst teammate on the worst team. And I was like, oh, well, you had a chance to clarify. Yeah. And you kind of went back, so okay, like I guess we're just kind of running with it. But I think that's the problem there, is he didn't necessarily mean that. He was being self-deprecating, and he was just saying, man, I'm not pitching well. Although he has had a really good year, last couple of outings have been bad. Obviously, not a great showing for him coming off the mound, getting tossed. Like, pitchers getting tossed is kind of a rarity. I don't mind the glove toss. If you haven't seen it, he throws his glove into the stands as he leaves. That's not a big deal to me at all. In fact, I think it's pretty cool. Like, somebody's got a Jorge Lopez glove. Somebody's going to have that glove and be like, do you remember that? And I got the glove, and it's going to be a cool story for them. But, like I said, you had a chance to double down or to take it back and kind of clarify, and he doubled down on it. I think he doubled down on it a couple times. And so we kind of left it at that. Mets end up saying, you know what? We don't like that. We don't like you painting our organization in that light. You weren't remorseful, so we're going to DFA you. And then he clarified the next day via statement, via his agent, saying the media, thanks media for making this worse than it was. I meant teammate, which I really do believe he meant teammate. This, English is his second language. Things do get, lost in translation, in context. Heat of the moment, all these things played a part into it. But Rose made a great point. Where was the interpreter?
Yeah.
And he typically doesn't use one. He speaks, he's pretty fluent in English, but I think at times like this, even if you are semi-fluent in a language, your emotions are running hot, and like some things, teammate and team I couldn't imagine. I put myself in his shoes. I'm playing in Japan, and like I can speak Japanese and get by, and like, whatever. Like, I guarantee there are times where I'm like, dude, I should probably have an interpreter. And that was one of the times he should have probably had an interpreter next to him to clarify things. So it ran its course, man. And again, he's DFA'd, and, he's now backtracking, saying I meant worst teammate. And I think the one thing that was kind of right on was our group chat, Talking Baseball group chat. Jimmy was like, I think what happened was Francisco Lindor called a meeting right before that. And he goes, I bet Lindor said something like, dude, we're playing like the worst team in the big leagues, and we can't be doing that. And then Lopez took that, and he meant that we're playing the worst team. He wasn't like saying like, I'm good and our team sucks. He was just reiterating what happened in the team meeting. Then that kind of got confirmed because JD Martinez came out and said it the next day. So it's like, all this happened and there was confusion, there was backtracking after a double down, and it all comes back to this seems very like if you were to guess the team this happened on, you would guess it's the Mets. And dude, like Mets fans, they feel like they're getting picked on all the time. It's kind of self-inflicted. Like it's a disastrous season for the Mets. I got stats. I already sent them to Jolly Olive on just the gameplay in general, but stuff like this, off the field, controversial stuff, it just seems like it happens more there. And maybe that's because the media's bigger in New York and there's a track record of it. I don't know, man. It just seems like it happens there more often than anywhere else.
Yeah, you got a little head tilt out of me because there's a little bit that we were wondering how much of this is us. Like Jorge Lopez in his Instagram apology, talking baseball is in there. It's tough. Our social team works in live time. That's how the internet works. That you're right. When he got that initial, wait, what do you mean? And so when you got the clarification and then that goes the other way, the Mets side of it is true. We do this every year. Lay out crazy scenario. Which team would you bet this happened to? And it's the Mets. So I don't know. They do. And I guess the other thing where I head tilt in like about ourselves is, okay, so let's say he clarified and there was some clear translation stuff, and I like to think we always land on the right side, that we're like, hey, if there's ever a situation like that, put yourself in them shoes and you're speaking your second language, third, like whatever it is. If this was Talkin Baseball Germany, I would get a lot of things wrong in my translations. What the hell was that? The Mets still released him. So like it's not like it's just clear.
They said they released him not because the teammate comments, but because of kind of like attitude, not showing remorse. That was the
regardless of what he said, he threw his glove in the stands. So
I don't think that's a big deal at all. I really don't.
That's like the thing he did.
He didn't throw it at anybody. He tossed into the stands. I told C Rose this, dude. I tossed bats into the stands, batting gloves. Like if I'm playing like crap, like here you go. Here's a souvenir. This motherfucker doesn't work. Here.
Right.
I don't think that was a problem at all. Like if that just happened, he throws his glove in the stands, comes back and says, "Man, like I'm bad right now. I want to be better." We'd all be applauding him.
Right.
But, we get a little bit of loss in translation. The quote gets ran with. It really does. And I think it is unfortunate. I really do. I mean, they said it had no bearing on the DFA. So I guess it is what it is. But here's the thing. He was a good pitcher this year. He's going to get picked up by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that was the joke. I made one of them. The internet's, a lot of people are saying either Dodgers All-Star or I went Rays. I know they've been looking for bullpen help. Yeah, I mean, the guy has crazy arm talent. He was an All-Star in 2022. That is the outlier on his career page, but it was a fun story. If people remember, he was like a bad starter that was actually begging to go to the bullpen. And when he did, he was doing really cool stuff. Like he was telling the manager, like he pitched 3 days in a row and he's like, I can go today, which, a lot of players, very different side of the coin, but the Josh Hader conversation that we did with his agent, he kind of had Hader rules. Very different scenarios. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the next step. And like BBD mentioned, the Mets just did some more transactions. So maybe
they just did some more. Jose Iglesias is coming up. They DFA'd Omar Narvaez. They're shuffling the deck today.
So yeah, I mean maybe again this highlighted it. Probably too much at first, but also maybe this was a signal that the Mets were like, hey, we got different stuff coming. And like we said, it felt Metsy, so maybe they were just like, hey, it's time to go. Dodgers sweep them. Good job, Dodgers. What's that, Beebs?
They've acquired Luis Torrens from the Yankees and added him to the active roster.
Okay.
Sheesh. Sheesh.
New look Mets tonight. I think there's going to be
so
some.
I'll give you my stats since we're on the Mets. I don't mean this to pile on. In fact, I think and Jolly, I sent this to Jolly and he had a pretty good response to it. I got some Mets stuff. So they've lost 5 of their last 6 extra inning games, all coming since May 5th. So this is a crazy stat. They've played 14 different extra inning frames, so 14 innings and extra innings, and they've only scored in 4 of them. So they're 3-7 in extra inning games, which is really bad. Losses when leading after the 7th inning is 9. That's the most in baseball. Extra inning losses 7. That's the most in baseball. The defensive run saved at -32. That's the worst in baseball. And I sent that to Jolly, and he said, "Man, yeah, we're not getting blown out ever. We're in every single game. We just can't find ways to win them." He goes, "It's 2023 Padres." So you're in the games.
Yes, I think the only thing that's different is the Mets front office came into this season basically saying this is a rebuilding year, coming off the Scherzer trade and kind of a quiet-ish offseason or the one-year signings that, again, the Padres were supposed to be like, not super team, but they were trying to do something unique and special. Where I feel like what we're seeing from the Mets right now, not that it was their goal coming into this season. Like I talked about a punchy, maybe wild card, 85-win Mets team. If the Mets season goes off the rails a little bit, they don't mind this year. Like this wasn't supposed to be the year. Stearns, new GM, they didn't spend. The prospects they got back are more lined up for next year. So, hey, hopefully this time next year we're talking about a different Mets team. Trev, I know, topically that we try to do on this show as much as we can. The other big one, the MLB Negro League stats have been added to the leaderboard. So there's
that's supposed to go with the AL pop, but we can do it now.
I mean,
because NL's got a lot to chew off. I got some other stuff. You wanna?
Yeah, just I didn't want to get buried. Like if we're doing topics, I think you need to get in front of the topics, and I don't think this is an AL topic. You know?
Okay, yeah, it is a topic. Okay,
so
I'm in. I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
sure.
It was. It's interesting to see because however you digest your baseball content. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard of the name Josh Gibson before. You know that I think Bryce Harper came out with his best ever baseball lineup, and Gibson was his catcher, and some of the stories and folklore around it. He goes to the top of career batting average leaderboard. The part I enjoyed, which was a head tilt moment for me, was kind of the list of other guys who you're going to see as top 10 batting average or stolen bases, like Oscar Charleston, Turkey Stearns. I didn't have him fully in my playbook, if I'm just being honest. Mule Suttles, Buck Leonard kind of did in Satchel Paige as well, but I don't know. This is obviously a massive thing, and I doubt you're fading this and trying to get the hot clip, but I'd love to get some of your genuine thoughts on it.
No, I think it's awesome because, it's a continuation of trying to preserve the stories of the Negro Leagues. And this was like a long time coming. This wasn't like, hey man, we already got all these stats. Like, let's just run them into the database. Like, no, there wasn't a database of stats, and it had to go into newspapers and so many different levels of finding these statistics. It took years to do this. So I said this on Baseball Today, like you kind of got to applaud the research team because this was a very difficult task and an important one as well. So they really took their time with it, made sure they got it right. There are still, several years where they're not sure about every single thing. So they didn't really include those. So some of these stats you could say, well, they're not even really complete. Like Josh Gibson might even have more home runs because, they said during the Great Depression, a lot of this stuff kind of got washed out. There wasn't a lot of newspaper clips about that. But I just love it. It's a continuation of this. I love going on Baseball Reference and seeing, the pictures of the players, and there's a bunch of Negro League guys, and you get to learn about that. The Negro League Museum is one of the coolest places you can go to. If you're ever in Kansas City, you got to go check it out. But I love it. I think it's awesome. And I like to say this because a lot of people say, well, why are we adding these stats to the big leagues? This isn't it's not Major League Baseball. So why are they doing that? We don't do Japan like that. It's like, well, bro, why would we count any of those stats pre-integration?
Right. You can use that argument for both sides.
Right? And I don't mean to go at your Yankees, but like,
okay,
this is the entire league. You had the Yankees playing, or every team played just the American League, and there was only 7 teams in the American League, and you faced these pitchers 1,000 times a year.
Did not see this turn happening.
I'm sorry. Like,
wow.
If you think that these stats shouldn't count, then you should say that, well, those stats shouldn't count either. Like, Babe Ruth faced the same 7 teams over and over and over again. I'm not taking away from Babe Ruth. I'm kind of taking away from Babe Ruth. But, like, it's like, dude, this is a story of baseball. And I'm very happy that the folklore isn't so folklorish anymore. It's like now it's legit, and it should be legit in my opinion. And I said this on Baseball Today because we did cover this. If you ever take a look at Josh Gibson, you know what a hitter looks like. This guy was a freaking masher. I'm sorry, dude. So, he's like the most famous one because he takes over. He's slugged like he almost 1-dot slugged it one year.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I will give one thing
okay.
I'll give one thing I don't love necessarily, but there's nothing you can do about it. Like the batting average, like single season batting average and stuff like that. Like when you're only playing 50 games, like that gets a little dicey to me. But other than that, I have absolutely no problem with it. In fact, I really enjoy it. And this is going to happen. There's just going to be more baseball stories to learn, to talk about, for me to share with Teddy. He did the whole Jackie Robinson. I forget what it was called. They did a school project. You got to go pick someone in history. He picked Jackie Robinson, and he just had the best time learning about that. Had so many questions about segregation and the history of our sport. And like, he's like, what? He didn't understand that. I love like kids. They're like, why would they do that?
Why?
That seems stupid.
That's another human. Why would we do that?
Yeah, that seems stupid. So like the more stories will come out, and it's great, man.
Yeah, I was about to highlight Chino Smith, who hit 451, one of the best seasons ever, people are saying.
Pretty
and
good.
then I was a little bummed out to also follow up that he died at age 30 getting yellow fever while playing in Cuba. So I was...
Well, everyone knows you can't be...
Cuban.
Not a great time to go to Cuba at that time, apparently.
But yeah, I mean, tell the story of baseball. That's kind of what it's all about. Go look at, Satchel Paige played in the big leagues, age 41 through 46. And for my nerds out there, he had an ERA plus better than other Hall of Famers, and that's when he was in his early 40s. So, like, what do you think he would have been doing at age 30?
That was a good point that I saw someone bring up. They're like, if you think the Negro League, well, I said this too. Like, you haven't been paying attention to sports if you think the Negro Leagues wasn't on par with the big leagues. I'm sorry. Right. And then once there was more integration, go start looking at the league leaders and MVPs.
Glad you didn't go the opposite direction on that one. That would have derailed the whole program. Trev, let's talk a little boogie ball then, because like you mentioned, the AL is a little thin, but in the National League, because I guess we talked a little Mets Dodgers. We didn't really Dodgers. You're just good. Cubs Milwaukee, and this has become a developing storyline. Obviously, before the season, Craig Counsell goes to Chicago to be closer to his kids' softball games, volleyball games, / get paid a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
That helps. Brewers win 3 out of 4. The one game they do lose goes to extra innings. And, I mean, a couple things happen. Like, they get to Imanaga, his first time kind of getting the business. And I think the bigger things, you mentioned it, the Cardinals have jumped the Cubs in the standings. The only team above 500 in the AL Central is Milwaukee, and it's it's looking like one of our locks before the season. Milwaukee's may not run away with the division, but heavy favorites at this point. Heavy.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of just they're playing Brewers baseball, like they're pitching, timely hitting, they're playing defense. Like that's kind of what we've come to expect from them. They're not going to do it with big names, and they're not going to go out and get that free agent, but they believe in their scouting more than maybe any other team in the big leagues. And it's shown again, man. And I don't want this to come off as a Craig Counsell hate fest. I feel like sometimes we do that because I'm a semi anti manager, and like, what does he really do for the game? He gets booed. They play the video. He gets booed. I kind of love that for Milwaukee. Like that's sports, right? That's what you always say. It's sports, man. It's sports. But I challenge all those Brewers fans to think about, well, if you were in that position and someone was willing to pay you $8 million a year and the other side was going to pay you $4 million a year, I think you'd take the double money. I think you'd take it.
I can't believe you do that to the people of Milwaukee.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I'm being honest, people. It's not all about money. We all know that. But if you're in that position,
hey,
don't hate on the guy too much. But I do like that you booed him.
Craig's pretty dope. And, dude, he kind of liked it. He said, look, cheer, boo, whatever, man. Just have a good time at the game. That's what fans do. Have a good time. I didn't like that he followed that up with, it's Memorial Day. You don't have to work today. Let's all have a good time. Don't bring Memorial Day into it, Craig.
I agree with that.
Just shit over there.
He was feeling bad. You think he wanted to get booed? No.
Nobody likes getting booed. Nobody likes getting booed, but they only boo the good players.
Yeah, a great series for the Brewers. I mean, Willy Adames kind of goes off. First game, Gasser and Steele, so lefties just fucking doing it. A Gasser, like, that's such the Brewers to have a guy like this. He's been absolutely nasty, especially at home. He's got crazy numbers there. You mentioned the air that scored the first run, and then Adames off Wesneski, 3-0 swinging. That pitch was down too, and he went and golfed it out to center. Love to see that. Game 2 was the only game the Cubs won. That's Belly robbing Adames and the Ben Brown no hit bid. Ben Brown is what Michael Kopech should be, I think, or wanted to be. I'm always going to be on Kopech. Like, what? Come on, man.
Just wait for him to get to the right team, and then
You're so good. You're so good. Go
get to the right team for your Get to the right team for your contract year. You'll be fine.
And so Ben Brown, I'll just start with this. He's nasty. 2-pitch guy though, which is interesting to me. He's you'll love this. He loves the knuckle. Like knuckle curve, I meant. It's like one of the best pitches in baseball. It's got an 8-run value on it. If he develops a third pitch, which he has, he doesn't throw them at all. Like he has them, but doesn't throw them at all. If you develop a third pitch, this guy's
and that'll be his off season. He'll find a split change, or he'll find a 2 days.
Joe Ryan will go hang out, and they'll find their split change together. Adames again in this one, he ties the game in the 9th, and then they kind of open it up. Talkman hits the liner off McGill. How about the McGill brothers?
Yeah,
crushing it. Love that. Mama McGill, I believe, does she listen to this show, or she follows me on? I met them once, and she's awesome. She's like a super fan.
Okay,
yeah, she's cool. So Cubs win that one. The third game, you're talking Shota, and he gets roughed up for the first time in his career. Yelly gets him. Yelly bomb. The splitter was just like middle the whole game. A lot of hits on the splitter. Shota apologized to Counsell after the game, which is like kind of customary in Japan, but like also pretty funny because
I like that.
He's been like the best pitcher in baseball. Blake Perkins that game. I mentioned the Brewers defense. Like Terang's nasty. Blake Perkins made like 5 different catches in that game to really preserve. Yeah. So he was good. And then the last game, the Cubs had 2 game-tying homers in that game. Suzuki pinch hit one, then your boy Christopher Morel hit one.
Crazy game.
And then who did it? Gary had the go-ahead homer in the 8th. He's so yellow. That team is so yellow. Like, I dig it. But he seems more yellow than everybody else. But Milwaukee, I mentioned the Swinger series, man. Like, Cubs, if you take that series, I don't know where the standings are at. I just read them off. The Cubs take that series, they're 2.5 games back or whatever it would be. And instead, they are down to 5.5 games behind, 1 game under 500.
Cubs, you're closer to the Reds than the Brewers.
Oh my god!
So that happened quick, huh? 2-8 in your last 10. That'll do it. I know their bats had a really rough month. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. They're playing the Reds coming up at Wrigley. So hey, maybe that's the best medicine, or start digging yourself a little bit of a hole, Chicago.
Yeah, their offense, the guys they've expected haven't really gone. There's a lot of like talk about they need to shake up the roster, but they have like their roster's set. Like they're paying guys to play these positions. Like you're not getting rid of Swanson, you're not getting rid of Happ, Suzuki, like Belly, like these guys are set. So like PCA did come up. Who did he come up for?
Hot.
Whatever. He played yesterday, or he played the last game, I believe. I don't know how much shuffling they can do, to be honest with you. So like it's just these group of guys, or this group of guys, nice English, has to get it going.
Yeah, they've got their next 9, 7 versus Cincinnati and 2 versus the White Sox. So we've seen the White Sox be every team's little medicine. And then, yeah, let's see as the Reds fight to keep their season alive. I mean, Cubbies, if you slip up for another 10 days, I don't know.
They can't sell. They can't sell anyone. They can't. They're set. This is their team, dude.
Yeah,
this is their team. So
pick it up. And the Red.
I think they will.
End the Red season. Get some White Sox medicine. They're scheduled the rest of the way. Not too shabby. Wow, rest of the way. Look at me looking at their schedule through the All-Star break. It's almost that time of year, Trev. It's May 31st.
It is.
Shit.
Last team I wanted to talk about in the National League Series is the Nats. I have actually seen them play in person a bunch this year, and they are. I'll grab a term from you. A punchy little club out there. They got some guys. Offensively, they need to get it going, but they do. It seems like, although the overall numbers aren't great, they will have a guy just like step up and take a game over, whether it's Luis Garcia, whether it's my guy Meneses, whether it's CJ or Winker, or Lane Thomas. Why do I like Lane Thomas and Matt Vierling so much? I don't.
I mean, Lane Thomas is has an argument that he's really good.
Yeah.
Matt Vierling's ploof.
Matt Vierling's going off, by the way. Okay. They take 3 out of 4, and it's really because their pitching has been really good. They won a series against Seattle prior to this. I mentioned before the season, when we did our TPPs, I said, this team's going to be fun to watch. Like, there's good players on there. There's going to be guys they're bringing up. They haven't really done that yet necessarily. They brought a couple guys, but James Woods, is that his name? I believe it is.
Yeah, he's James Wood.
He's
supposed to be
on
next.
The horizon. He's a freak. But I'm gonna lay it out for you. The reason they've been doing as well as they've been doing, 8 games, the last 8 games for the Nationals rotation, 2.27 ERA, 56 Ks, 7 walks, and that's 47 2/3 innings pitched. So you're going essentially 6 innings per start at a 2.27 clip, striking people out, not walking people. That's the recipe.
Yeah.
And you get some timely hitting. I mean, the only game they lost in the series is because Fried went 8 and they turned it over to Iglesias and they won 1-0 or something like that. Jake Irvin matched him in that. Like they're playing fun baseball. Like, so if you're in Washington, this is my advice to you. If you're in Washington, go watch these guys play, see some of the, fun players they have. Watch Eddie Rosario run around the bases and swing at everything. That's fun. Then go to Schilling Canning Co. Because our guy Reed Schilling, who's a big fan of John Boy Media, he's a chef out there and he's got a great restaurant. Had to plug him. He does a lot of stuff with the Nationals, anyways. But Trevor Williams is a stud. I don't know, man. Like we had to cover them because they've been doing so well, and it's just really been their pitching.
Yeah, I guess that's the plot twist here. Because when I thought about the Nats before the season, I was like, you know what? Abrams has been taking steps. Lane Thomas is just good. And then if you told me, Luis Garcia is a contributor, Eddie Rosario is, you could have told me like, hey, we'd be looking at a middle of the pack Nats offense that's put something together. The offense has been worse than I thought, minus stolen bases, first in steals, but everything else is pretty.
They've just, like I said, it's like one guy will do something,
right?
Keep them in the game, and it hasn't been consistently one dude. And it was at the beginning of the year, was Winker and Abrams were going off, and they've kind of tapered down a little bit. But again, they're I don't know what runners in scoring position is. I guess I do have it up. Where the heck was that?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun offseason Nats conversation, because I think, between Mackenzie Gore, Mitchell Parker, and Jake Irvin, you can start putting guys in the rotation. And at the deadline, Nats, you probably don't want to hear this right now, but if you can get something for Trevor Williams, who's been great, Finnegan, Harvey, Floro on the back end, one or two of the other rentals, I don't know. Turn assets into assets, and we could be talking about a fun Nats team next year. Because, my God, if they'd be 29-26 right now, we'd be talking about the Nats dancing.
Runners in scoring position, they're not great. I think they're 22nd. I just toggled it and butter knifed it a little bit to just runners on, and they're 11th in the league in OPS.
Ha! Take that, toggle.
Go Nats, go. I want to talk about the Nats.
Braves, we kind of talked about you a lot last time, and you're still coming out from the Ronnie news. This isn't how you wanted to go.
No.
But again, they're still sitting fine. Keibert Ruiz been going off for the Nats a little bit. Trev, I think the only other thing that I've got to get off my chest before we do some American League, San Francisco Giants are winning.
Yeah.
That's the ask. That's the ask.
I gave them my award last ep. They've continued it.
Yeah.
You know why I'm happy for them?
Why is that, Trev?
Because they went out and added in the offseason.
Yeah.
They went out and spent money and brought in players. They made some savvy moves. Snell hasn't panned out yet, but he's a second half guy, and it wouldn't surprise me at the end of the year we're like, oh shit, like here's Blake Snell again doing his thing. And if that happens, they could be a very scary team. My boy Matt Chapman's been going off. He had his dog on the field. That was like a thing. He was like running all over the field while the Phillies were trying to take infield. That was fun. Very wholesome moment, I thought.
Hey, Phillies, here's East Coast Jake checking in. West Coast trips are always bizarre. You're probably looking at Rockies Giants saying, let's win a couple series. We're one of the best teams in baseball. They lose both. They lose in Colorado. They lose to San Francisco. They'll come home and they'll play the Cardinals. Let's see how that looks for them.
All my Phillies friends are just like, yeah, we don't win in San Francisco. So
West Coast, man. You're either built for it or you're not, Trev.
It's a strange stadium to play. I only played one series in it, but it's different, man. The air is different. You're right on the water right there. It's I don't want to say it's intimidating, but it's kind of intimidating. It's like cold. It's a big park.
You know what else is intimidating? In the best way? You. Ridge Wallet. Ridge is back. One. Our friends at Ridge are back with an exciting new product. You can now get Ridge's signature wallet for all of your favorite MLB teams, all 30 teams in there. If you're a fan, you're listening to Talkin' Baseball. You watch your team. You're listening to other teams. You're deep in the game. And know what's coming around the corner, Trev? Big day for you. Father's Day.
And my birthday. If anyone wants to send me love, June 15th.
Okay. Wow, that's a big weekend for you, huh?
It is.
Holy cow.
Lots of you know what.
Holds up to 12 cards. A lot of hanging out with me. Holds up to 12 cards plus room for cash, 100,000 5-star reviews, and a lifetime warranty. That's pretty good. Head to ridge.com/johnboy to snag yours today. They're offering markdowns of up to 30% for Father's Day. Ridge.com/johnboy. A nice little Father's Day gift. Hey, Pops. I don't know what that was. Let's do the American League.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, pause it. Yeah.
I don't know how this can go. How's your dad?
My dad's a funny guy.
Does he like you?
Keeps to himself, likes me.
No, I know he. I mean, I think he would like you, but are you like him?
Oh yeah, I mean we're similar guys going for the joke. You know, sporty guys, couple one-liners here and there. Yeah, I think likes being social in a safe setting.
Sure.
You know? But I think that comes with everyone with age. I feel that more. Like if I'm going to a sandwich place that I don't know the routine, I get nervous. American League Baseball. A team that could make you nervous, the Baltimore Orioles, have started to click again after that sweep. I asked and I received. They lose the middle game as Brian Bayo pitches well and Rafael Devers goes 4 for 5. But outside of that, the Orioles sticks came to play. That blonde fuck Kyle Stowers. Randall Grichuk might be coming to the office today. Your guy Cole Irvin, your fishing partner, 5 shut piece. And then on the final day, a Corbin Burns and a Gunnar Henderson grand slam. That's a bad combo for the other team. Baltimore takes 2 out of 3. Red Sox have really struggled with them this year. The Kansas City Royals, they're great. We're singing their praises. How good have they been? The Minnesota Twins take 3 out of 4. You talked about Joe Ryan and that little split change for 7 innings, 1 earned run. Jolly Olive's tweeting about Simeon Woods Richardson and his career. Is that what bonded you guys? Man, Carlos Correa triple, Trev? You're going to have to tell me about that. I didn't see it, but the Twins, they win 3 out of 4 against the Royals. Good for them. Get back on track. Speaking of, the Seattle Mariners take 3 out of 4 from Houston. Everyone keeps waiting for that Houston shoe to drop. It did in the last game as Spencer Ragetti goes 6 shut. He finally gets the luck he's been looking for. Otherwise, it was Mariners season. Bryce Miller, split change. We talked about it. George Kirby and Julio hit a little bit. Seattle's been waiting for that. They hold serve against the Astros, which people kind of didn't expect around the league. Rays, they take 2 out of 3 against Oakland. And the highlight you might have seen or maybe you didn't see, Jose Siri's back to not giving a fuck. Makes a great catch to help save the game, and then a 2-homer game, including he gets the baby face killer, Mason Miller. They take 2 out of 3. 2 fan bases that are angry, but nobody cares about. Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Halos. They drop the first one. Tough late. Clay Holmes gets hit first pitch. Kevin Pillar going nut job for the Angels. Why not? But then the Yankees, Luis Gil, Trev, learn that dude's name. He could be starting the All-Star game. He's been out of control. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge combined for 5 ribbies on the final game. Yanks win. Rangers, they win 2 against the Snakes. Dalton was excited. He listed it as the World Series rematch on our sheet. I don't know how excited you might be about it. Be excited about what Corey Seager's doing. Just homering. Just a ton. God, what's his best butter knife? We're going to have to get into that. They take 2 from the Snakes. Snakes are in a bad place right now. Tigers and Pirates split 2. Although we love seeing Jared Jones, Scooble, Skeens out there. Okay, a lot of young talent out there. Matt Vierling's going off, guys. They split 2. And the Blue Jays, they sweep the White Sox. The right medicine at the right time, man. Go ask your Twins. But George Springer, good seeing him getting some hits going. Our guy Chris Bassett, a content man and a pitcher. White Sox get swept by the Blue Jays. That's what happened in the American League. Standing time.
I do have the standings. Great job, Pop Snaps, for you. Because it's Friday, we did the American League second. Because it's Friday, we're going to start out with the AL Central.
Okay.
But before I get into that, if you haven't seen Chris Bassett's talk about facing Yordan Alvarez and why he has trouble with him, I thought it was like one of the coolest, most insightful answers. It's on Chris Rose Sports IG page. Go listen to the full interview. If you don't want to do that, just check the clip out. It's awesome. So anyways, the standings in the AL Central, the Guard Dogs, My goodness. We're going to be talking about them a little bit later in the show. They're 37-19 for a 661 winning percentage, second only to your Yanks in the American League. Kansas City Royals are 35-23, 3 games back. The Minnesota Twins take 3 or 4, as you mentioned. They're 31-25. The Tigers 28-28. So we have 4 teams in the AL Central 500 or better, and the White Sox, I believe you called them the Little Medicine. There's a great song by The Slip called Yellow Medicine. Go check that out. It's like one of my favorite songs ever. It's like a jazz band. They jam a lot, and it's great. Drum solo, everything's awesome. That's the AL Central. We'll go west. We'll go out west, okay?
West.
The Mariners. Talked about swingers. They swung, baby. 31-27 after taking that series from the Astros. They are the only team above 500. The Rangers are 27-29. This is bad. 4-6 in their last 10. The Astros 25-32, 4-6 in their last 10. The A's 23-35, 4-6 in their last 10. The Angels 21-35, 4-6 in their last 10. In the East, those Yanks, historical, some might say. I don't know if anyone's saying that. 39-19 for a 672 winning percentage. Is that the best record in all of baseball, or do the Phillies have them?
Phillies have them.
Barely. Just barely. The Orioles 35-19, 2 games back. And then it's the Red Sox and the Rays, both at 28-29. And then the Toronto Blue Jays at 26-29. And those are your standings in the American League.
Fantastic work, Trevor. Like we talked about, we spent a lot of time, you had the stats being added as part of the AL. It was on our sheet. I'm yanking your chain a little bit. I think the two biggest results, like Orioles Sox, you're not going to want to hear it, but this result surprises no one. I think the conversation lies Yanks beating up on the Halos. I think the conversation lies in the 2 series. Your Twins, it's one of the few times I'd actually like to get your thoughts on if they showed something different or if they just won a couple close ball games, 2 one-run games in that series. And then Houston-Seattle. We keep waiting for a slightly different shoe to drop. It's still bizarre seeing Houston's 5.5 games back, which, for how ugly it's felt for parts of their season, that still doesn't feel like anything. So I guess in those 2 series, and I guess you'll probably start with your Twins.
I'll go quick with the Twins because, I think the Royals and the Twins are probably more similar than people want to give them credit for. The Royals have just been pitching lights out. I've also been doing some other things that we'll talk about at the end of the episode. But yeah, it was just a good series for the Twins. You mentioned Joe Ryan. He did his thing, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Trevor Larnach, Jose Miranda had a big homer there. Julian really hasn't gotten it going yet. There's talks about him, like maybe getting sent down because Royce Lewis is almost back. I think he's going to be back this weekend against the Astros. So there's a roster crunch. I don't think he gets sent down. In fact, I don't want him to get sent down, but somebody's got to go on the roster. Twins, they had some timely hitting. Jeffers had a couple big homers in that last game. Carlos Correa did clear the bases with a triple. It was an inside-out pitch. 3-1 count, stayed inside of it. Nice at bat. And then you mentioned Simeon Woods Richardson. He's been very steady. Last year they had Bailey Ober throwing a bunch of quality starts. That was like his thing. It was like you could just Sharpie him in, if you will, for 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. And that's kind of what Woods Richardson has done, not to the extent in the innings pitched because they've kind of taken him out, but he's given you a chance to win every time he's been out there. And honestly, I'm surprised by it. And he's exceeded my expectations, if you will. Okay. So that's a big reason he's a big reason why they've been able to kind of like climb back, get back over 500, do all these things, because he's given them a chance to win. Duran has been getting hit a little bit. The curveball, which has been a really, really good pitch for him in the past, it's just kind of flipped up there. I don't know if teams have something on it or whatever, but it's getting hit, and I don't think he needs to throw that anymore because you throw very hard and you have a splinker that's really good. But a very pivotal series. Now it's a road trip. It's Houston, and then it's into Yankees, which I will be in Yankee Stadium calling the game. Me, Michael K, right, David Cohen, right next to each other, calling the game.
So wait, what days are this?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Next week, I'm gonna be in New York.
I mean, I can get press passes. I'm gonna ruin your day.
I don't think you can ruin my day, Coach.
Whoopee cushions everywhere.
I don't think that matters.
Happy for your Twins, and again, like I keep checking out the wild card standings for no reason. It really feels like AL is in a nice spot right now. The Twins are the last team in. If playoffs were today at 31-25, Royals and Orioles above them. And then their first team out would be the Tigers, who they're 500 right now. So you can't, when you're 500, you can't be barking about anything. Red Sox and Rays, a half game behind them. I mean, where things get interesting. I mean, Texas Rangers, Blue Jays, Houston Astros. One, if not two, if not three of those teams are going to find a gear at some point. So the AL's positioned really well and already has some dividing lines where the National League, I mean, playoffs are different every hour with Braves as the first wild card, Giants, Padres, half game up on St. Louis currently, a half game out of the playoffs. So, hey, how about it, Birds? You love Oli Marmol. Oli?
I think it's Oli. We're friends because Kyle Gibson said I have to be. I respect that guy. The only other series I really want to dive into in the American League is that Houston-Seattle series because it's really good. And starting it off is like the coolest, like funnest thing about baseball. Ryan Bliss is playing second base for the Mariners, made his debut. First ever pitch in the big leagues. Jose Altuve pops it up to him. So you're there and you're like, holy shit, you're shaking. You can't even feel your feet. The ball feels like a golf ball in your hand because it's like this, what's happening? I'm in the big leagues. How awesome is this at home? And so you're getting ready for a ground ball, and then Jose Altuve hits a sky-high pop-up right to you. But kind of cool, like it's a pop-up. You can't really fuck a pop-up up too often. So that's nice to get it out of the way. But first pitch ever in a big league game, I thought that was cool. My debut, first batter, I believe, was Carlos Gomez hits me a ground ball to short. And Gomez is pretty fast.
Can run.
Hammer that thing over there, bounced it, Morneau pick me up.
It's huge.
Never forget that. Anyways,
love you, Morny.
First game, Seattle comes and they take. Seattle comes. They get a 3-0 lead in the top of the first off Framber. And then the Astros try to, tie it up. Abreu is the first game back from his whole minor league thing. He hits an RBI single to right center. That's good to see. Caratini had a sac fly, and those were the only runs of the game. 3-2. Seattle wins that one. Bullpen gets it done. The second game, Luis Castillo, quality start. I think he's got 8 of 9 quality. 8 of his last 9 starts have been quality starts. His ERA has gone from a 6 to a 3. So he is who you think he is, people. Hunter Brown also had a quality start. The Mariners have 34 on the year, Coach. That leads the big leagues. I mean, that's obvious. Rojas ties the game. Hold on. Let me get back to this real quick. I have my notes here, but I'm messing up. Rojas ties the game. That's off a glove of the first baseman. And then Rodriguez, you mentioned him hitting. It was like a slow roller chopper. The Bregman comes in, bare hands, throws it away. So a little circus ball, put a tent over it. That error got him 2 runs. Then Stanek closes that game out. So I kind of love that little revenge game. Not revenge, but when you get to shove it up your former teams, you like to do that. Game 3, I have Verlander, Kirby, Spider-Man meme. They both pitched really well, and that was a J.P. Crawford, obviously walk-off sac fly. I always wonder, Kyle Tucker catches that ball. Why not? Let it fall.
Yeah, we've done that before. I was wondering
for your pitcher.
There was another one of those this weekend. Or I was wondering why wouldn't the guy caught it, and it was at the wall, so the run was going to score. The inning wasn't over, though. So it wasn't this exact scenario. But catch it, throw the ball in the stands. He just casually threw it into the infield. Let's have a little pizzazz here.
Okay. I like it. And I think Kyle Tucker is just like, he's an honest guy. He's like Abe Lincoln.
Sure.
What's he going to do? Not try hard? God, I love Kyle Tucker so much. And then the fourth game, the Astros finally get one. That's nice for them. And Arrighetti, first quality start of the season. He's like hasn't been good. And it was nice to see for him. He went 6 with no earned runs, 8 Ks, 3 walks. So a little bit of traffic on the base pass, but they sneaked that last one out. But this is a big swing series, man. Like the Astros could have made up some ground. Instead, the Mariners, put some distance in between them. So good on the Mariners at home, Memorial Day. Love it.
Yeah. Astros at one point had a 6-game win streak. They were after the third loss, they were 4-7 after that. Now with the win, quick math says 5-7. Seattle's done really well against the Astros, 14-5 since getting swept in 2022. Or excuse me, now 14-6. Yeah, Seattle, I'm glass half full, glass half empty. Like, they're in a really good spot, and they haven't hit yet. But can you hit? And I still don't know that. Julio will.
Dude, we've been saying the same thing.
Same thing. I will say we give their starting rotation a lot of love because if you're around baseball, you kind of know their names now. What they've done in their bullpen the past couple years, outside of Senor Smoke, Andres Munoz on the back end, but they can tap into guys pretty good. Mike Baumann, who the Orioles just let go, he was part of a clean reliever streak. Meanwhile, on the other side, like Ryan Presley, got clipped again. So very good skill to have, being able to tap into those guys in the bullpen. Get a couple nerds that know how to read the numbers, man.
Yeah, that's when the Twins got Topa this offseason. I was very excited, and Mariners fans were all my mentions saying, it doesn't matter. That's what we do is create relievers.
Right. And, hey, that's no need to really talk about their series, but the Yanks are pretty good at that too. So good.
Do you know who gave you Luis Heel? God. Throw it quick. I didn't bounce.
Throw ain't bad.
Trev. That's on a line. Oh, look at you. Skinny, young, Joe Mauer's cousin-looking motherfucker.
This got me really happy. Look at this. Throw that mother.
That's a nervous throw.
Oh, my God.
That was a nervous throw. Just watching your follow-through. You made the play.
I made the play. That's a little low arm slot. That ain't where you want to be, coach.
This ain't alligator arm. Little gator arm. That's a great way to put it.
By the way, you hit into some bad luck in that Giants series in San Fran. You were lining out all over the place. Mad Bum struck out 10 in his game. Didn't get you.
That's right.
Soft throwing lefty. Trev, we're going to hit a few of these other teams within the next part of our show that starts with standout performances. These guys really stood out, a bunch of standouts. Trev, standout performance is brought to you by Black Box Sports AI.
Yes.
We are AI. We are the biggest AI probably show in the world. And Black Box is our favorite tool to get the edge for MLB betting that's specifically for that. Last year, they hit over a 68% clip. They finished up over 30 units. And on their website, they show their winners and losers. Like, it's full transparency. They're not just flaunting the good. The world of betting, there's some ebbs and flows to it. But with Black Box, it's a system for the rest of the season. And stop tailing these moonshots. Bet smarter. Black Box AI. Get started today using code BASEBALL at blackboxsportsai.com for your first week free. That's code BASEBALL at blackboxsportsai.com. There's a link in the description. Trev, where are you going, Papo?
Well, we could have went to a bunch of places for the guard dogs. That's where I'm going to stay, even though I lost 2 out of 3 to the Rocks. But I wanted to highlight one guy. I was just looking at my hairline. I mean, it's not that weird, worried? People. It's just that it's poofed this way. I don't know.
Can I tell you something I might have our socials team run with one day, and it probably will hit harder in the office than not. The TV show The Office Go look at season 1. Steve Carell looks awful. This is like a known thing. I'm not opening up people's eyeballs. But, you kind of get that glow up and take care of yourself and a little hair care and all that stuff. Steve Carell by season 7 looks incredible. Steve Carell season 1 looks awful. I think I've got a little bit of that going on. Like some of these old clips that we've been digging up. I'm like, Jesus, dude. But, it's a little hair care, a little, some basic stuff, a little trim. Anyways.
I'm getting up there in age, pup. I got to, do all this, stuff. I'm not there on the hair plugs just yet, but jeez.
I mean, Steve Carell looks bad there. That's the pilot. That's him at his youngest.
Looks like he got some plugs.
He's 29 or that age there, and then by the time he's closer to 40, he looks incredible. Kind of like you.
I've been aging fine. I'm not mad about the way I'm aging, but he definitely got some hair help there, which I'm not in the market for just yet. We'll see. Anyways, okay. David Fry. I love fries. First of all, they're so bad for you though. Why is it gotta be that way? Huh?
Yeah.
Anyways, on Tuesday, he went 3 for 5 with a homer, 3 runs driven in, scored 3 runs. I posed this question to C Rose, what's going on, man? This guy hadn't been playing every day. This is earlier on in the season. His overall numbers are just bananas. 353 through 102 at-bats, 353, 485 on base percentage. I didn't stutter there. 485 on base percentage, 608 slug for the 1 dot, 216 OPS plus. Wow. Okay. But since he has been playing every single day, and funny enough, it started on your favorite holiday, 420. That's April 20th for people. Since then, coach, he started playing every single day. He comes into games. He doesn't start every game, whatever. He's started in 21 games. He's played in 28. Since 420, 368 batting average, a 505 OBP. Over half the time, every other at bat, he's getting on base. 602 slug for the 1.137. The BABIP's very high, as you'd expect, but what this guy's doing is crazy, and he's a massive part of why the Guardians are in first place. I mean, without this dude, who has walked 18 times and struck out 18 times since 420, they wouldn't be in this position whatsoever. So I wanted to shout him out because I don't feel like people, if you really are into baseball, you know what he's doing, but on a national level, I don't think he gets much love. So David Fry, man. He's good for you, not like those other ones.
And how much have they been looking for something like this? And we put it into perspective on Wake and Jake. I was doing a digging through the rookies and sophomore classes, just seeing how much guys are contributing. Easy, the best sophomore contributor around baseball this year is David Fry. So I don't know. Sometimes a light bulb goes off late. Sometimes guys go nuts for 2 months and you don't hear a lot from them the rest of the way. I don't know where David Fry is going to land, but with him, Naylor, and Ramirez, they currently have a meaty middle of their lineup that Cleveland ain't had that. Good job, Trev.
Thanks, dog.
I'm going with my guy because he does not give a bleep. Jose Siri. He puts up a 2-homer night, which was huge for the Rays to win that game against Oakland. He sent it to extras. So to have 2 homers during the regular part of that game means they really needed those 2 homers. He's also been in a really nice 2-week stretch, 11 games and 861 OPS. He plays great defense in center field. He goes and gets balls you don't think. And the biggest thing was he got Mason Miller. I said it during the run through there, but the kid who's just been lighting up this whole season gave up his first home run, and it was to Jose Siri. Just a reminder, if you haven't seen what Mason Miller's been doing, 26 innings pitched, 51 strikeouts. So that's not bad. And Siri gets him, and it's his first blown save of the year. And when you're getting this kind of contribution from a defense-first center fielder, that's massive. The Rays are looking for juice. They had that undefeated April last year. They did not this year. And offensively, they've just been lacking. And they got the Palacios walk-off later. So I don't know. Paredes has been doing his thing. Yandy needs to come around more. Randy and a couple other guys. But Jose Siri, just a talking baseball legend. 2 lollipops.
He is. I mentioned this on baseball today. He was on like the MLB IG where they show like the fits.
Yeah.
He had this like vest on with like skeleton. And it was a Bone Thugs and Harmony like merch. So automatically I've already been high on this guy, but that's like I know like almost every single word to every single Bone Thugs. I even go like the Mo Thug records and all that stuff. So that's a big one for me. Also, you got to mention Jenny Kavnar, who's like she's gotten like kind of crushed on social media this year for some of the calls, which I think are probably it's not fair. But she did right before the homer say, "Hey Siri, it's not your night."
Yeah.
Next pitch, homer. That's a tough one to go on. You can't really be talking smack about the other team because stuff like this can happen.
Announcer
it's funny
jinx.
to talk about it.
Announcer jinx. Yeah, nobody would have had Siri in his OPS in the 5s getting Mason Miller. But ain't that baseball, Trev?
It's baseball.
Ain't that baseball? Trev, there was so many guys. I see Matt Vierling. We've talked Lane Thomas. Your guy Kutch. Uncle Larry was on here. That blonde fuck, Stowers.
What a fuck.
A bunch of pitchers. Learn
Aren't
Luis.
they all blonde in Baltimore? What's up with that?
A lot of blonde boys there, yeah.
Learn Luis Heal's
Frat
name
boys.
already.
You're welcome for Luis Heel. Jake Cave,
Jake
really?
Cave, handsome, touch of gray.
I do like Jake Gray. A lot of gray, not touch.
Trev, can we do the best part of this damn program?
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
For the series, my guy, Willie Adames, he just needed to get out of Tampa. This handsome stud. Oh, can't say enough about him. Shortstop, hot, hits homers. 7 for 14 in the series. That's a 500 average. That's the math. Double, 2 homers, 7 runs driven in, 5 runs scored. That was in the 4-game set against Chicago. How about our guy? Never seen you and him in the same room. Kyle Schwarber, the DH for the Philadelphia Phillies, 6 for 12. That's also a 500 average. 2 homers, 4 runs driven in, 2 runs scored, 3 walks, 2 stolen.
2 stolen bases. Let's go.
That bowling ball, he would, gosh, man. And he can sing, people. He hit his 5th leadoff home run this season and 36th leadoff homer of his career. Love that. Will Smith, the catcher, not the pitcher, not the actor. He went 4 for 14, but he made those 4 count a double and 3 homers. Smith joined Roy Campanella, Mike Piazza, and Steve Yeager as the only Dodger catcher with 100 homers. So welcome to the club.
Will Smith having his best season.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
He is a stud. For the week, you mentioned this guy earlier, Keibert Ruiz, the catcher for the Washington Nationals, 10 for 22, 2 doubles, a homer, 5 runs driven in, 4 runs scored for the 1.1 OPS. Francisco Lindor for the Mets has been getting it going. 11 for 30 in this week, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 runs driven in. It was his first home run since May 10th on Tuesday. It was during his second AB with his new walk-up song, My Girl by The Temptations.
Girl.
My girl, talking about my girl.
My girl.
There you go. Hunter Harvey, Nationals reliever. Okay, he has to be a Southern boy. Please look that up for me, Beebs. I'm like guaranteeing he's from the South. 5 games pitched this last week. That's a lot of games pitched in 1 week. 3 holds, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no walks, 6 Ks. That's a 0 ERA, people. For the 2 weeks, my guy. Yes, Beavers?
Yeah, it says Catawba County, North Carolina.
Of course. Knew that was coming. Detroit outfielder who?
Yeah.
Matt Vierling. Big, tall, strapping man out there running around those long limbs. 14 for 39 over the 2 weeks, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 4 home runs, 13 runs driven in, 9 runs scored for the 1.2. He became the first Tiger since Carlos Guillen. Go check out his stats. In 2006, to record consecutive games with 4+ runs driven in. Your guy, Yankee starting pitcher, Luis Gil, a la the Twins. He was in like the Dominican League when he got traded. So like, I can't fault him that much. But also, what are we doing? 3 games pitched in the 2 weeks, 20 and a third innings pitched, only 2 earned runs, 31 Ks. That's a .89, .64 whip. He improved to 6-0 with a .7 across 6 May starts, Jake, allowing just 3 runs and 38 and 2/3 innings pitched. And then my guy, Griffin Jax. Hello. 7 games pitched in the 2 weeks, 4 holds, 6 and 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks, sweeper central. You ain't hitting it, Jake. Twins, Yankees in the playoffs this year. Griffin Jax, sweeper past Judge.
Don't let me see it twice. That's all I'm saying.
I'm calling it. Yeah. Well, you ain't see it Judge twice. Ain't you. That's who's in Fuego.
Trev, fantastic job. Man, ending with Griffin Jax out of our Air Force out of our Air Force Academy. Where's he born? Phoenix. Went to high school in Colorado.
Nicest guy in the world.
James Griffin Jax. Don't care about that because Luis Gil's nicer.
If his name was Jax Griffin, I would be out.
Oh, okay.
Griffin Jax is way better.
Luis Gil with the God Bless Me tattoo across the throat. Little more story-elly than Griffin Jax. He's been incredible. Awesome to watch. Trev, fantastic job. We have to follow the best segment of the show with the worst segment of the show. The IL report. Your guy Joey Bart and his resurgence. It's going to have to slow down for a little bit as he heads to the IL. Evan Carter for Texas. We don't like that. Let the kids play. Clark Schmidt, sneaky tough one. He's been really good for the Yanks. His lat, he'll be out for a couple months. AJ Minter in that Atlanta bullpen. Edwin Diaz for the Mets. Kerry Jesus was a Carpenter. That hurts your Tigers. Late night Lamont Wade. These are like your guys.
Hamstring for Lamont.
Tyler O'Neill. Haven't seen us in that same room. Returning from the IL. Big Nate Dogg Evaldi. Oh, yeah. Yes.
I know what you want to do to that tattoo.
I want to get it. I want the if the Yankees, if they had me in their business department, we would be selling the kid stamp-on ones, the water tattoos of that.
Love that.
That should be all around the stadium.
How about a mock turtle with that just on it?
Ooh, that's a little soft. That's funny if
turtles are in.
That's funny if Griffin Jax does that. Like, oh no, why?
Maybe Minnesota.
Nothing on the neck for me, but I'll get this mock turtle. Key Brian Hayes and DJ LeMahieu. How's your hot corner? They're back. Evan Carter out. White Langford in. TJ Friedel for my Reds. David Peterson and a lot of other guys for the Mets. Trev, let's start off the first weekend of June.
Awards.
Am I going first? Or you going first?
It's Friday, so
I go.
Okay.
My award is called the "It Only Matters If You Do It at the Right Time" award. Okay, we're a big crypto pod, obviously. How's your Doge doing?
Really well.
Is it?
Really well. I'll check.
Check real quick.
I'm gonna check.
So much of that stuff is about timing. If you do it. If you're buying crypto at the wrong time, if everyone's talking about it, don't be buying it. Once everyone stops talking about it, that's when you buy, people. That's not financial advice. Please do not do what I say when it comes to finances. I give that to somebody else who's smarter than me. But that's life, Pop. It's timing. Timing's about everything. Free agency. Hey, when did you have your banner year? Was it this year? Okay, you're going to get paid. That's kind of stopped in the big leagues now if we're really thinking about it. Real estate. What's up? What's the market looking like? How are the interest rates? It's all about timing. In the bedroom. Slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. Speed it up.
I think they like the consistency from what I've heard. Keeping a good tempo.
It's all about timing, though. Think about it. Life.
Yeah.
Time's a man-made construct. We invented time. And that is why life is all about timing. And for some teams in the big leagues, Jake, timing is everything. I have some stats here. Number one, I want to get this one just off of the rip because I had this. I didn't get to put this one in the show. We always talk about out homering. This is not part of my award. I don't know why I'm going here, but I have to put this out there. Talk about out homering your opponent, and some guys, especially baseball players, like, man, we gotta move runners. We gotta play the game of baseball. I'm one of those people too, because I think you have to do that as well as out homer your opponent. When teams out homer their opponent, the MLB average winning percentage is 756. The Dodgers are 21-1 when they've out homered their opponent. Orioles 24-3. Yankees 24-3. It's all about homering, and usually I can relay this back into my award. It's with runners on base. Those are the big homers. Solo homers don't get you, so it's about timing with these homers. But what I do want to say is that the Royals and the Guardians have been the most timely hitting teams in all of baseball. Their average with runners in scoring position, this was going into Thursday's game, the Royals are hitting 309. And I don't want to go into OPS here. That's important, but I think it's more so getting hits with runners in scoring position that really keeps you going as an offense. Royals 309, Guardians 305. They're far and away the best two teams as far as batting average. The next closest one is 289. That's the Phillies. The Brewers are also very good, hitting 287. But you got to go far back to have any team finish a year with runners in scoring position average over 300. 2020, we're not going to count that because there's only 60 games. The 2019 Yankees were very good at it. Typically, the team that's going to lead the big leagues is around 285 to 287. The average this year is 254. But because the Royals and Guard Dogs have hit at a timely fashion, their records are great. And to prove that this is all that matters, Jake, the Guardians are 16th in the league in batting average. They're actually only hitting 239 as a team. But with runners in scoring position, they're hitting 305. The Royals are doing a little bit better overall. They're hitting 251 as a team. That's with just, all over, all encompassing at bats, 309. So it's about when you do it. Now, I say all that, and I'm happy for these teams for doing it. But will the shoe drop on these teams? It's kind of what I'm thinking. Eventually, you're not going to be hitting 309. There just hasn't been teams that do that. So unless you're the anomaly and you're going to continue this, if you're a Royals fan or a Guardians fan, you probably already know this and what I'm talking about. It's not a surprise to you. We've talked a little bit about Guardians timely hitting on this show, but I'd expect a little bit of regression for both of those teams. And then it's how do you combat that? Is it going to be with more power? Are you going to have to add a bat? We will see. But for the most, or for, up through May, the Royals and the Guardians have been by far the two best teams with runners in scoring position, and it's a big reason why they have the record that they have.
It's interesting, Trev, because there will be another shoe to drop. It's just how hard does it drop and when does it happen? Because you can feel that
Cinderella thing, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but also no. Feels like it predates Cinderella. When Cinderella come out? Interested to see with the Guards. That's really interesting where they normally are at with batting average. The Royals, 7th in baseball in batting average. Man, the second half of their lineup could use a little something if they could stretch that out a little more. I know I've been fighting Blue Jays daydreaming. Would Bo play second next to Bobby Witt? Hello. Again, that's just a Friday, May 31st daydream. I'm interested to see with those two Central teams. I think they're good ball clubs, but I do think things have gone pretty well for them so far.
Yes.
So
the pitching for the Royals has been kind of out of this world. The timely hitting has been out of this world. I don't want to hate on the Royals, but I feel like I'm kind of hating on the Royals a little bit.
Okay. Well, hey, maybe we'll find out a little bit next week.
I like watching him play. Me and Bobby Jr. are like best friends. So
Cleveland, Kansas City goes to Cleveland next week, so maybe we'll get something there. Maybe we won't. Great award.
2019 Yanks. Do you want to hear what they hit?
Sure.
I got to go back a little bit.
289.
No. Hold on. I'm almost there. Come on.
Come on.
Page load up.
Load.
Ready? You ready for it? 294. 890 OPS.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. They're doing all right this year, too.
It doesn't. No Cinderella involved. No. It's more recent than that, I think. Late 19th century and early 20th century, in the tenements of New York City, most apartment buildings had bedrooms. You know, all the units were built the same shape. Bedrooms are on top of each other. You'd hear your neighbor drop one shoe, then a second later drop the other shoe when they're taking their shoes off end of the day. So it's just shorthand for when you know something's coming.
They're going to bed or fucking?
There could be some stuff there. Now that I've Googled it, it's more so just like it's New York City. Apartments are tight. You can hear your neighbors.
I would have bet my house on Cinderella.
I'm glad you didn't.
Her shoe drops. The carriage turns into a pumpkin.
Right.
Midnight.
But there's not like another shoe to.
It's more about anticipating something you think is coming.
What will happen?
Than it specifically being a bad
Jake
thing.
is a master at that.
I'm giving the Rubbing Off Award while we're on the topic.
BRB.
I got to go to a pretty cool event this offseason. I've talked about it a lot. Couple guys at this event were friends of the program that some of you people either want us to be tougher on or not. Sometimes we're not tough enough on. We're usually friendly to them. One guy got traded to the Dodgers. Everyone's kind of been waiting for his full-blown breakout. He got the extension. Jeff Passan said in his best season, this guy should win a Cy Young. Another guy was in a different boat. At the peak of the game, fourth in Cy Young in 2019 at age 23, had a couple injuries, gets traded to an Orioles team and kind of gets lost in the sauce there. That he hits free agency, gets a one-year deal. Tyler Glasnow and Jack Flaherty, formerly your boys, are currently 1-2 in baseball.
Did you just skip over Chris Archer?
In strikeouts. There's me and Arch, a couple front office guys. But currently, present, 2024, Glasnow leading the NL in strikeouts, Flaherty leading the AL.
Is he really?
In strikeouts. Yeah, dude, he is punching tickets in a big way. And I guess you could just say my fingerprints are all over this season in these guys. So, I guess I'm tasting myself and rubbing off on a Friday morning.
If I'm ranking that picture of hottest to least hot.
Right.
Like, everyone's going to pick Glasnow. Archer used to give him a run for his money, but Archer's not a player anymore. Front office, so I ding game. Points right there.
Different game.
I think I'm gonna go J Flair, Glasnow, RGU.
Okay. So I was hoping there was gonna be a little bit of a plot twist there. If we're being real, Tyler and Jack, I think a lot of men, women, animals can debate that. Chris ain't bad looking. And then, I'm probably the caboose, depending what you like,
Yeah, there's some freaks out there that like.
I didn't say that. Come on. Some people like a chunkier
What would Jess
man.
rank those guys?
Same as you, pal. Hey, I hope everyone has a great weekend. It's brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get in on the action now. Use code TALKIN. Only at DraftKings. A ton of baseball this weekend. No hoops. There's a little bit of puck, but summer's coming, people, and that's baseball season. You doing anything good this weekend, Trev?
I am going up to Napa. Got a wedding up there, so I got a date tonight with Olivia at a beautiful restaurant in Napa Valley. I mean, I can't complain, Pop, ever.
Wow.
Like, literally ever. Just yesterday was like the only bad day I've had in a long time.
Well, I'm glad we could get you on the other side of it. Hopefully everyone is listening to this and either enjoying their weekend or on their way to enjoying their weekend. We will be back Monday. June, man. Starts getting real quick. Couple big Junes for some teams. St. Louis.
Jake Schultz.
Man, you put up a 16-8 June, and you're gonna be in the dance.
You met my son Hunter? Yeah, Hunter Harvey. He's a pitcher.
Harvey, he's on the Nats.
He throws that ball. No, I don't drive no Tesla. No.